Now, your Storm Tracker 13 forecast first, sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers.
Plenty of sunshine today, and Viper 13 real-time radar not showing any rain across the area. We will stay dry through the evening hours, and with all the sun, it really heated up today. Temperatures once again back into the 90s area-wide. A few spots close to the mid-90s across parts of the PD, and it will stay warm through the evening hours. And we are expecting another hot day on the way for tomorrow. Our forecast, mainly clear skies overnight tonight. Temperatures getting down into the 70s again. Sunshine back tomorrow, and we'll have our temperatures back into the 90s. I'll let you know if this hot weather will last into the weekend coming up.
Coverage you can count on at 5 starts now.
And thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Bob Chubak.
And I'm Nicole Boone. And first up in tonight's coverage you can count on, Horry County firefighters are now in Louisiana to assist in rescue and recovery efforts after Hurricane Laura arrived as a Category 4 storm overnight. News 13's Julie Calhoun just spoke with one of them moments ago. Julie.
Nikki, I talked with Dennis Mann with North Myrtle Beach Fire Department. He's serving as a hazmat specialist for the state's urban search and rescue team. Right now, they are in Baton Rouge in the process of receiving their assignment to see which affected area they will be assisting. Hurricane Laura ripped buildings to shreds as it slammed Louisiana. The storm pack sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, leaving behind debris and extensive property damage. The state fire marshal says they are a diverse task force that is able to perform several types of search and rescue efforts.
Primarily, their mission will initially be assessing structural damage, doing searches of damaged structures to make sure they're not occupied, making sure that the residents that are still there and staying in inhabitable houses are safe.
Both State Fire Marshal and Dennis Mann say this is an opportunity to return the favor to Louisiana.
Hurricane Florence, they had 100 personnel and boat teams that responded, spent a lot of time in the Myrtle Beach area, as a matter of fact.
Being on the coast of South Carolina, when we do have a hurricane event, I stay with my local department. We rely on a lot of people from out of state, so it's really good to be able to help those who often help us.
The task force is prepared to stay for up to 14 days. The state fire marshal says there are crews still here in South Carolina that are assisting virtually. There are 10 firefighters in total from several agencies in Horry County assisting in the Gulf. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Julie. New at 5, News 13 got some amazing video and photos and learned a lot more about a possible cause of that huge fire last month at the Ocean Lakes Family Campground near Surfside. 10 homes were damaged, 45 people impacted. News 13's Maria DeBone joins us live right now. Maria, what else can you tell us?
Bob, Horry County Fire Rescue Investigations Unit rolled out arson as the cause last week. They say the fire has been classified as undetermined, but have a good idea of where it originated, in the structure with the most damage on Neptune Drive. Rescue crews stated they initially noticed flames coming from the storage room under the home on Neptune Drive. The occupant of that home said there was a golf cart there plugged into a charger. Investigator David Dorio said he cannot rule out the possibility of an electrical fire because a qualified expert would need to determine that. Dorio did say in a report, from the facts, statements, and observations gathered at the scene, it is his opinion that the fire originated in the storage room underneath the home. Coming up at 6, I'll have more of the fire rescue's investigations findings. Bob, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Maria. And as more businesses in the state reopen, the number of initial unemployment claims drops in South Carolina. After a one-week increase, the state says first-time claims dropped 24% in the week that ended last Saturday. Here you see the latest local initial claims. Last week, those numbers fell by 18% in the PD. They fell 23% in Horry and Georgetown counties. And next week, 2 popular theaters on the Grand Strand will reopen for the first time since they closed back in March.
News 13's Taylor Hernandez is live now outside the Alabama Theater in North Myrtle Beach, where much of the staff is already back to work. Taylor.
Well, Bob, Nicole, you're right. Many of the employees here are already busy getting the theater ready to welcome back an audience. Alabama Theater President Bob Wood tells me when they closed their doors in March, they had no idea it would be this long before they were allowed to reopen. And being closed for peak travel season was tough, but they're just excited to get back to work. Wood says they had done about 6 weeks worth of performances on the current show when they had to close. So when the rest of the staff and performers come back to rehearse, it shouldn't take long to get ready for opening night.
Just about everybody's back. They'll be back by the end of this week, and we'll start rehearsals on the 31st. So It'll be good to see everybody, and I think everybody's real happy to be back.
The Alabama Theater will open a week from Saturday on September 5th. Coming up on News 13 at 6, a look inside at some of the changes they've made to make it safer for people to return. Live tonight in North Myrtle Beach for News 13, I'm Taylor Hernandez.
Thank you, Taylor. South Carolina has applied for FEMA's Lost Wages Assistance Program. This would provide an extra $300 in unemployment benefits on top of the state's weekly benefit. President Donald Trump created the program after the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program expired. You can read more online.
South Carolina DHEC reported 424 new coronavirus cases in the state today and 42 more deaths. Among those 42, one person in Chesterfield, Williamsburg, and Florence counties. Now here you see the total case totals since the pandemic began. However, the 424 new cases reported today, that is the lowest number since June the 7th. The percentage of the most recent test, 8.1% positive, also the lowest since early June. Every nursing office in Florence 1 schools right now equipped with UV angel lights. We have News 13's Lacey Lee live outside Sneed Middle School in Florence. And Lacey, I understand that you were able to get a look inside of the nursing room there and learn more about what these UV angels do.
Yes, Bob, and one of the nurses here told me that the UV angels makes the rooms one of the safest places in the building.
We feel confident. We feel confident that we are here to serve the students and the faculty in the safest manner. We've got the equipment, we've got the technology, and we're ready.
Dr. Linda Lee, a UV angel expert, says they use a high-intensity UVC in a sealed chamber to make sure there's no exposure in the room. The air that is drawn into the chamber is treated with UVC, which is cleaned air released back into the room. Lisa Howard is a nurse at Sneed Middle School and has been for the last 8 years. She credits the district for taking the extra step to make sure when she treats a student in the nursing's office that they will be safe.
It's had previously only been used in hospitals, so for the healthcare setting, this is ideal. We are creating safe space, safe, clean air for our students and employees.
Howard says this new technology has every nurse in a setting now equipped to work during this pandemic.
It means that our kids are in a safer environment during this epidemic. We can effectively treat a child and isolate them away from this area, but be assured that the area in our health room stays sanitized and clean for the rest of the day.
Coming up at 6, hear from an employee here at Sneed Middle School and her thanks to the district for the equipment. Live in Florence, Lacey Lee, News 13.
Thank you, Lacey. And you can get continuing coronavirus coverage you can count on, including how to sort out symptoms of fall allergies from COVID, online right now at WBTW.com or on the News 13 mobile app. Happening right now on the south end of the Strand, it's a Positively Carolina event. It's a teacher classroom supplies giveaway. It continues until 8 o'clock right behind the Inlet Square Mall where the old Kmart used to be.
News 13 is your local election headquarters, and new at 5, Horry County's Elections Office is setting up 3 additional voting sites. The 3 locations on your screen will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. from October 5th to November 2nd. These sites are for voters who want to cast their absentee ballot in person. Of course, you're encouraged to check your voter information before going to any of these sites, and we have a link for you to do that online at WBTW.com.
News 13 on-time traffic, sponsored by Joy Law Firm. Just call Joy.
And this evening's traffic along 501 between CCU and Carolina Forest moving smoothly. A few slowdowns at the traffic lights, but nothing really jamming up too bad. No slowdowns at all on 544 right now. Drive times along the Grand Strand on 501 from the bypass to Carolina Forest. That's going to take 3 minutes and 17 in both directions, moving at about 40 to 45 miles per hour right now. In and around the Florence area looking okay as well. Just a few slowdowns here or there. One of them at 5 points. It always seems to slow down this time of day. I-95 currently moving at 75 miles per hour. Palmetto from 5 Points to Irby Street will take 4 minutes. 52 from Palmetto to I-95 will take 6 minutes.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Well, we learned today that one person died last night in a shooting in Horry County. Horry County police say the person was found shot in a car in a ditch in the Forest Brook area at the intersection of Bush Drive and Clay Pond Road, just a couple of blocks from the George Bishop Parkway. We don't officially have the person's name right now, but count on updates online at WBTW.com. The Darlington County Sheriff's Office says it has a killer in custody tonight. It arrested Olajuwon Samuel and charged him with the murder of a person who was shot on August 19th. Authorities say that shooting happened at a home on Susan Drive. It's off Hoffmeyer Road, not too far from the Lamar Highway. Samuel is in jail right now. He's charged with 1 count of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder.
There was a food distribution for those in need in Marion today. Our crew talked to the organizer about the importance of it.
It's a great need, and I think we as a church, as food banks, that we need to do what we can do to try to bridge that gap in times like these. And we know that time's gonna get harder.
It got even sweeter as they gave out about 16,000 pounds of ice cream.
Well, coming up, what South Carolina state lawmakers consider when it comes to hate crimes. Plus, a North Carolina man to be released from prison more than 40 years after a crime he didn't commit. And here's a live look at some of the damage that Hurricane Laura caused in coastal Texas. This is in between Galveston and the Louisiana line. News 13's coverage you can count on continues in just a moment.
You're watching News 13 at 5, and South Carolina lawmakers hear testimony on whether South Carolina needs to join 47 other states in having a hate crimes law.
A House subcommittee heard from prosecutors yesterday about the details of a possible law and from the pastor and a sister of a victim at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston. Dylan Roof killed 9 people there in a racist attack back in 2015. Earlier this year, South Carolina House Speaker Jay Lucas created several subcommittees to review all facets of criminal justice. Right now, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Wyoming are the only states that don't have hate crime laws.
A North Carolina man who spent 44 years in prison for a rape he says he didn't commit will be freed. That's according to Ronnie Long's attorney. Long was a 20-year-old man and living in Concord, North Carolina when he was accused of raping a woman. She was white. Long, of course, is African American. In 1976, an all-white jury convicted him. A family friend says the news of his release is long overdue.
That's a long time for somebody to be locked up and for no reason. It's amazing. It's amazing what God can do for people. Yeah. If he see you, know you ain't done nothing wrong to nobody, they got to let you loose.
Earlier this week, the court ruled that Long's constitutional rights were denied. The court ruled also that 44 years ago, Concord investigators withheld evidence that could have freed Long, including fingerprints and hair samples. Evidence also included the description of the suspect that did not match Long, and a lineup in the case was manipulated.
Researchers down in Savannah get closer to a coronavirus vaccine. Clinical trials kicked off last month. Meridian Clinical Research says progress is going to depend, though, on the amount of viral transmission in the community and if they can recruit more minority volunteers. It says Latino and African American communities are underrepresented in vaccine trials nationwide.
This is a big problem because, unfortunately, those two groups have significantly higher risk of being very ill from getting the infection. So please, we're ready and we need volunteers.
And it's not just COVID. Meridian researchers have also worked on everything from flu shots to anthrax vaccines.
I'm Anna Warnicki in Washington. Federal officials say they're monitoring Hurricane Laura and its damage closely, and they say they're ready to help. I'll have those details coming up.
We've seen a lot of sunshine across the Carolinas today, but Tropical Storm Laura bringing up a lot of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. I'll let you know if any of that's heading our way coming up next.
And now, here's your Storm Tracker 13 forecast.
A lot of sunshine across our area today. Temperatures bumped back up into the 90s. Some clouds back to the west. They're going to take our time building in. And of course, here's all the moisture from what was Hurricane Laura. That storm system is still moving to the north, so it's generally going to make the big arc around the Carolinas and won't directly affect us, but it is going to be helping push through a cold front on Saturday, and that will bring a few thunderstorms. But until then, we are likely going to stay dry and will be dry this evening. Skies mainly clear. A few wispy high clouds will be moving through as we head through the evening hours. Our forecast showing that clear to partly cloudy sky. Don't think we'll see any rain this evening. And then overnight tonight, mainly clear. Staying warm and muggy tonight as well, with temperatures in the 70s. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to a mixture of clouds and sunshine, and it is going to be another pretty warm one tomorrow, with temperatures back into the low to middle 90s, just like what we saw today. So if you're heading out and about along the Grand Strand this evening, expect those partly cloudy to mainly clear skies. 85 degrees by 7 o'clock as we head through the evening hours. By 10 o'clock, 83. So it is going to be warm through the evening hours. We're not going to get down into the 70s until late night tonight, but it's going to be a very pleasant evening area-wide. Headlines for tonight: warm and muggy, hot again for tomorrow, back into the 90s. That cold front coming through on Saturday will bring scattered thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon hours, and then some slightly cooler and drier air coming in for Sunday. That drying is only going to last one day. The storm chances will be back next week. In the tropics, things have really quieted down now that Hurricane Laura has made landfall, and it's down to a tropical storm right now. With it over land, it's going to continue to steadily weaken. Winds are down to 50 miles per hour. Still a lot of rain and centered right now over southern parts of Arkansas. They're still worried about tornadoes across Arkansas and western parts of Tennessee. The track keeps it across the Ohio Valley through tomorrow and into the weekend, and notice staying far to our north, but that area of low pressure is going to push some cooler air southward. That's going to be the cold front that pushes through on Saturday. So our forecast for tomorrow: another day with a lot of sunshine, high pressure in control. Can't rule out a stray thunderstorm on Sunday. As we head toward Monday, there's what's left of the hurricane pushing through a cold front with some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. Not going to be a washout. That will cool us down a little bit for Sunday. For tonight, mainly clear, warm and muggy, mid-70s for our overnight lows. Tomorrow, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Can't rule out a stray thunderstorm, but most of us will stay dry. High temperatures back in the low to middle 90s, just like we saw today. At the beaches tomorrow, winds out of the southwest about 10 to 15. That surf temperatures at 82 degrees. 7-day forecast looking at our better chance for storms coming on Saturday. Still pretty hot. We'll be in the low 90s on Saturday, and then temperatures in the upper 80s to around 90 on Sunday. We'll dry out on Sunday, but the humidity, that moisture chance comes back on Monday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms pretty much every day next week.
Thank you so much, Frank. Hurricane Laura left a path of destruction along the Gulf Coast. Now the recovery and cleanup begins. New tonight, at least 4 people have died. What you see here is some of the damage in Louisiana. President Trump visited FEMA headquarters today to get an update on the storm.
Tonight, News 13's Washington correspondent Anna Wernicke reports on the federal response to that Cat 4 storm that made landfall just east of the Texas-Louisiana line.
As Hurricane Laura makes its way up the Louisiana-Texas border, officials in Washington are preparing for the worst.
People should understand we are not out of danger yet.
White House counselor Kellyanne Conway says President Donald Trump is closely monitoring the storm. She says FEMA is ready to respond.
They're ready for this because it was already predicted to be a more aggressive than normal hurricane season. So he feels confident about the food and the water and the tarps and the other supplies that have been stockpiled.
President Donald Trump was briefed on the destruction at FEMA's headquarters on Thursday.
We've worked everything out for the federal government to be very, very efficient and be very aggressive in getting everything back and going as it should.
President Trump approved emergency federal aid to Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi before the storm even made landfall. The White House says they're prepared to provide more assistance once they assess the damage.
Your Coast Guard pre-positioned assets, pre-positioned its people, and are responding today. They're up in the air. They're conducting search and rescue.
Thursday, Texas Republican Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz joined the Coast Guard to survey the damage in southeast Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the devastation could have been a lot worse.
When you consider the magnitude of the damage that could have occurred here, we did dodge a bullet.
President Trump says he will visit the storm damage this weekend. In Washington, I'm Anna Wernicke.
Coming up, a pet food recall over salmonella concerns. Which dog food is affected next? A dog food has been voluntarily recalled due to concerns of salmonella contamination. The brand affected is Nature's Menu Super Premium Dog Food with a blend of real chicken and quail. A sample of the product tested positive for salmonella. There are no reports of pets getting sick, though. You can return the unused portion to the store you bought it from for a full refund. Now, if your pet is lethargic, has diarrhea, fever, and vomiting, it may be infected with salmonella. There is also risk to humans who handle the contaminated products.
Well, it's almost 5:28, and News 13's Megan Miller's here right now with a look at what's coming up next at 5:30. Megan.
Hey, Bob and Nikki. Coming up next, a local college receives a patent to help treat Alzheimer's. We'll tell you how coming up next. And a look ahead to the final night of the Republican National Convention. President Trump there is expected to give his nomination acceptance speech later this evening. Stick around. We're back with more local coverage you can count on right after the break.
Coverage you can count on at 5:30 starts now.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. For more local coverage you can count on, I'm Megan Miller. First up at 5:30, Chief Meteorologist Frank Johnson has a look at how our Thursday evening's shaping up. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Megan, looking pretty nice across the area. Skies are clear right now. Viper 13 real-time radar not showing any rain across our area, and we are going to stay dry as we head through the evening hours tonight, and skies will stay clear as well. The radar not really showing much across the Carolinas, but if we go all the way back to the west, there are showers and thunderstorms across Florida, Alabama. They're all moving to the north. They're being pulled northward from what was Hurricane Laura. They're all going to stay to our west overnight tonight. But as we head toward the weekend, we'll have the better chance for a few showers and thunderstorms rolling in. But for tonight, we will stay dry with mainly clear skies. It's going to be warm and muggy. Temperatures staying in the 70s overnight tonight. Sunshine back again for tomorrow. By 11 o'clock, we'll be in the mid-80s. We're heading back into the 90s again tomorrow. I'll let you know if this hot weather will last into the weekend coming up in a few more minutes.
Frank, thanks so much. Residents along the Gulf are seeing devastation from Hurricane Laura firsthand. Some of them seeing flooded streets, and many are still without power. Peyton Lo-Cicero reports.
I'm Peyton Lo-Cicero in Franklin, where it's about 50-50 for residents who have power and who are without. Now you look at this house and it looks like it's been barely touched by Hurricane Laura, but then if you look over this way, you can see what they're actually facing. And this is not something that is new for residents in this area. They said during Hurricane Barry, this is exactly what they saw, and they know that it could get worse if their rain does continue. We'll keep you updated. I'm Peyton Lo-Cicero in Franklin.
And you can get continuing coverage of the damage and recovery after Hurricane Laura online right now at WBTW.com. News 13 is continuing to track the coronavirus for you this Thursday evening. In South Carolina, DHEC announced 42 additional coronavirus deaths today. Those deaths include one each in Florence and Chesterfield counties. Here's a look right now on your screen at local totals since March. You can read more online right now at WBTW.com. Well, for many people, the pandemic has caused a big spike in anxiety and depression, and a new study claims that's led to an increase in symptoms of eating disorders. News 13's Nicole Boone is here to explain. Nikki.
Hi, Megan. Eating disorders thrive on secrecy, and pandemic shelter-in-place orders have provided just that for millions. According to a new study in the International Journal of Eating Disorders, many suffering from anorexia have been restricting their eating more during the pandemic. Others with bulimia and binge eating disorder are doing just the opposite.
With the pandemic, suddenly people were panicking and going to the grocery store. They were afraid things were going to close down. So now, instead of following their normal routine and structure, they have access to food all the time.
That counselor that we spoke with says this is exactly how some of her patients feel. She encourages them, though, to spend more time doing outside activities. She also says it's important to socialize safely as much as possible. Now, if you are struggling with an eating disorder, you can find help by calling the National Eating Disorders Helpline at the number you see there on your screen. It is 1-800-931-2237. Megan, back to you.
Nikki, thanks for that report. Hair loss is not yet a recognized symptom of COVID-19, but as News 13's Aaron Rohde explains, more and more people who've had the virus are having that issue.
Hair shedding being one of the biggest ones.
Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, Elise Lasasso has been consoling clients that have noticed changes to their scalp. She's reporting an uptick in mostly female clients losing hair. And so does Dr. Jeff Marvel, founder and director of the Nashville Hair Clinic.
We've known for decades that you can lose hair during times of physical stress, such as due to serious illness or major surgery, also severe psychological stress or emotional stress. So I think it's a combination of those things going on now with the pandemic.
So the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization haven't deemed hair loss an official COVID-19 symptom. But more than 500 people reported hair loss in a recent Indiana University School of Medicine survey of COVID survivors.
It can be pretty devastating. Hair is obviously one of the biggest sources of self-confidence within a woman, and especially when it's unexpected and you've never dealt with it before.
Dr. Marvel says some hair shedding is normal, but stress can cause the natural hair cycle to accelerate, whether that be from physical illness or mental fatigue.
It will come back. It's not a permanent type of hair loss.
In the meantime, he recommends a healthy diet, exercise, and gentle hair care.
You can take supplements, vitamins, biotin's a good one. And you have to be kind to your hair, avoid harsh chemicals and treatments to prevent more shedding.
For WBTW News 13, I'm Aaron Rohde.
Free coronavirus testing was held this week at UNC Pembroke. The mouth swab tests were offered to UNCP students, faculty, and staff, regardless if they even had any symptoms. Specimens collected today will be sent to a lab in Washington, D.C., and those results will be back in 2 to 4 business days. Earlier this week, we told you UNCP had 83 total cases among its students. Count on us to keep you updated on that tally. And you can get more coronavirus coverage you can count on, including why the CDC has removed the 14-day quarantine from its travel guidelines, online right now at WBTW.com. New at 5:36, there's cutting-edge research being done on the fight against neurological issues, including Alzheimer's disease. And it's all happening at one of our local universities. News 13's Matt Fortin spoke with the UNCP professor working to uncover new treatment methods.
This research was recently awarded a patent, which is the first in UNCP history. Dr. Ben Barr says this work has been years in the making.
So the problem is trying to figure out these two lines of data.
Tucked away in this UNCP lab, Dr. Barr works with students from all over to fight Alzheimer's and traumatic brain injuries. Some of that research now newly patented.
The combinations of natural products with new drugs to turn on these clearing mechanisms to help clean up the pathogenic problems in the brain and slow down your direction toward dementia.
Dr. Barr says changes in the brain from sports or blast injuries show parallels to Alzheimer's. The goal, to slow down the process and even improve brain function.
Stimulate enzymes that help degrade the bad material that accumulates with age and with traumatic brain injury.
Alzheimer's can be tough to treat and it's slow to develop.
People should be screened when they get 60, 65 for their memory problem. Earlier you make the diagnosis, you can preserve your memory constant.
Dr. Gadawala, a Lumberton neurologist, called the illness prevalent in our area. Across the country, it's estimated to affect nearly 6 million people.
Alzheimer's disease is scary. Everyone's getting old, and age is the biggest risk factor.
This, though, showing some promise for the future.
We're a small university, but we're fighting hard for this problem.
Now, a lot still has to happen before this type of treatment actually helps people. Coming up on News 13 at 6, we'll tell you what the next steps are, plus what this all means for UNCP. For now, in the Pembroke area, Matt Fortin, News 13.
Matt, thanks for that report. In the PD, the Duke Energy Foundation has made a $50,000 gift to Francis Marion University's new FMU Engineering Makerspace. That Makerspace will provide FMU students and faculty with a new resource that allows them to tap into their creativity outside of the classroom. Habitat for Humanity of Horry County is now accepting applications for the Habitat Homebuyer Program. The Homebuyer Program is a 12 to 18-month program where families attend monthly financial classes, pay closing costs, and pay down their current debt. This is video from a previous home dedication. You can find more information about qualifying and applications on our website, WBTW.com. Still to come this Thursday, how Governor Roy Cooper wants North Carolina to spend nearly $1 billion in federal relief money. Plus, a look at night 4 of the Republican National Convention as President Trump is expected to give his acceptance speech tonight. But as we head to break, here's a live sunny look over the Myrtle Beach coastline. We're glad you're tuning in for News 13 at 5:30 tonight. More local coverage you can count on continues next.
From WBTW, Megan Miller and Chief Meteorologist Frank Johnson. You're watching number 1, News 13 at 5:30.
Covering the Carolinas at 5:43, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is recommending using nearly $1 billion in COVID-19 federal relief funds for public health, K-12 schools, and local governments. He asked separately that legislators reconvening next week spend more state tax dollars on disaster relief, at-risk students, and teacher bonuses. He also requested funding for Medicaid expansion and more than $5 billion in debt for capital projects and infrastructure. Senate Republicans, though, are wary of spending more state tax dollars during an uncertain economy. A Spartanburg police officer is recovering after he was attacked inside a Walmart last week. Officer Aaron Hansen was working off duty as security at Walmart when police say James Cunningham ran over and started attacking him, really for no apparent reason. Hansen was reportedly knocked unconscious, and Cunningham tried to take Hansen's weapon but was unsuccessful.
One of the scariest things that you have to deal with in law enforcement is when you find out a fellow officer is hurt, and when it's one of your own, your very own, not just in the agency, but somebody that works directly for you, it's just an added, just terrifying feeling.
Hansen's supervisor says his recovery is going a lot better than expected, and it wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the Good Samaritans who stepped in to help. Cunningham was arrested and charged with attempted murder, assault and battery, also possession of a weapon during a violent crime. The city of Columbia and 3 other cities, meanwhile, are suing the ATF to stop the spread of ghost guns. The easy-to-assemble guns require no serial numbers or background checks. The lawsuit asks a judge to stop the government from letting gun parts that can easily be converted to functioning weapons be distributed without restrictions. Tonight, the ATF has not commented. News 13 is your local election headquarters, and tonight is night 4 of the Republican National Convention. Tonight, the president gives his official acceptance speech, and News 13's Washington correspondent Jesse Tnur joins us now live with a preview. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Megan. The family affair continues tonight with senior advisor Ivanka Trump introducing her father, and lawmakers traveled back to Washington at the invitation of the president to watch him speak in person.
Tonight, celebrating America.
The grand finale of the Republican National Convention will light up the sky above the Washington Monument with fireworks. As President Trump formally accepts his party's renomination from the White House.
His policies are right for America. They're right for Arkansans.
Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge will join more than 1,000 supporters on the South Lawn to watch the president outline his vision for a second term.
Businesses need to be able to grow and flourish and not have federal overreach. We must defend our police officers, not defund our police officers. We've got to look out for American safety. All of these things Donald Trump has worked on.
Democrats say the use of the White House as a backdrop for the political convention blurs the lines between campaign activity and government business. And the size of the crowd on the South Lawn is larger than would be allowed outside the White House gates in the city of Washington, D.C. But that's not stopping Congressman Rick Allen and Senator Thom Tillis from joining their Republican colleagues in the crowd.
When he invites me to go somewhere, I never say no.
We're all excited about it.
Tillis says Democrats should take notes from the RNC.
I think Joe Biden can learn from our president and actually get out there, do it safely.
And Allen says the convention is resonating with voters.
I mean, it's just so positive, so uplifting, so American, so patriotic.
President Trump's speech officially kicks off the fall campaign season, with many on both sides gearing up for a Trump-Biden debate. Protesters plan to gather as close as they can to the White House in an attempt to drown out the president's speech. In Washington, I'm Jessie Tenor.
Thanks, Jesse. Coming up next, how a new app can help keep you updated on any recalls affecting your car. That's coming up a little later in Tech Talk. Frank.
And the sunny, warmer weather we've seen the last couple of days will continue tomorrow. I'll let you know if it'll last into the weekend up next.
And now, here's your Storm Tracker 13 forecast.
More sunshine across the Carolinas today, bumping our temperatures back into the 90s. Clouds all back to our west, and that's where we're finding some showers and thunderstorms being drawn northward from the Gulf of Mexico because of the circulation of what is now Tropical Storm Laura. That's going to continue to pump out moisture out of the Gulf, and eventually some of that will be heading our way, but not until Saturday when we've got a cold front pushing through. Across the area tonight, skies mainly clear right now, a few wispy clouds here or there, and we'll generally stay clear to partly cloudy as we head through the evening hours. Temperatures in the upper 80s right now at the beaches, low 90s inland areas, and it was another very warm day. Temperatures will be similar again for tomorrow. So our forecast through the evening hours, clear to partly cloudy. I don't think we're going to see any rain through the evening tonight. And overnight tonight, mainly clear skies, staying warm and muggy with temperatures in the 70s. And tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to a mixture of clouds and sunshine, and it will end up being another pretty warm day again for tomorrow. Out in the tropics, things have quieted down considerably since last night. Hurricane Laura made landfall. It's down to a tropical storm right now, center right across southern parts of Arkansas. Winds down to 50 miles per hour, and it's still moving on off to the north-northeast at 15 miles per hour. The track is going to take it across the Mississippi and then Ohio River valleys, staying far to our north. So this is a system that isn't really going to impact our weather, but on Saturday, as it's moving across the mid-Atlantic, it is going to push a cold front into the Carolinas, and that is going to spark some thunderstorms and bring in some slightly cooler weather for Sunday. Elsewhere in the tropics, a couple of other systems across the central and eastern part of the Atlantic. Nothing very organized right now, but a couple more systems to watch. The chances are pretty low, but the one that is out there in the central Atlantic has a 10 to 30% chance of developing over the next 2 to 5 days. And the one that's just off of Africa has a 20% chance in 5 days of developing. These are things that we'll be watching as we head through the weekend and into early next week, but things may get active again in the tropics, but right now they have calmed down. High pressure controlling our weather again for tomorrow. Can't rule out an isolated shower or storm, but most of us will stay dry. The remains of the tropical system passing by to our north will push a line of thunderstorms through our area on Saturday, and then eventually some cooler weather, slightly cooler weather moving in on Sunday. But for tonight, mainly clear, warm and muggy, mid-70s for our overnight lows. Sunshine mixed in with a few clouds again for tomorrow, and another hot day, low to middle 90s for our highs. Can't rule out a stray thunderstorm, but most of us will stay dry tomorrow. Better chance for those storms coming in on Saturday with that weak cold front. That'll knock temperatures down only a couple of degrees on Sunday, but it is going to dry us out on Sunday. It looks like a really nice end to the weekend. Humidity will build heading into next week, and those showers and thunderstorms will be back. Pretty much scattered afternoon storms every day next week.
Nice little beach day or river day on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday looks like the choice of the weekend.
All right, we'll take it. Thanks so much, Frank. We got Frank's forecast all squared away. Now it's time to get your headlines coming up next at 6 with Bob. Hey there.
Hello there, Megan. We have a lot coming up at 6, including new information from Horry County Fire Rescue's investigation into this rather spectacular fire at Ocean Lakes Family Campground near Surfside. Also, what a local theater is doing to ensure audiences are safer when the shows soon resume. And here's a live look over Garden City tonight. We'll see you at 6, but Megan's going to see you with more local coverage you can count on at 5:30 right after the break.
In your Thursday Tech Talk at 5:56, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is rolling out an app to alert you to vehicle recalls. The free Safer Car app is being made available today. Owners just enter their 17-digit vehicle identification number, and the app will search the agency's database for any recalls. If there is one on your vehicle, the app will send an alert. You can also check child seats, trailers, and tires for recalls. And wrapping things up, Amazon wants to help you up your fitness game with the Amazon Halo. The wearable is designed to compete with the Fitbit and Apple Watch. Amazon says the Halo can analyze a user's mood and detect body fat percentage. It also tracks sleep and activity. There's always some new technology, Frank, coming out to help us with our fitness.
Yeah, and those are pretty fun too.
Yes, looks pretty cool. Well, that's a wrap for News 13 at 5:30. We're back with more headlines next on News 13 at 6.